Hi everyone. I'm happy to be here. It was one of those days where I read something and I really feel that I want to communicate what I'm learning to you. I'm like an avid reader, and for some decades I just kept my learnings from myself, and I'm at a point where I'm hearing the need to give all these things that I'm learning to the community. And so I'm reading this amazing book, Woman Who Glows in the Dark by Elena Avila. And one of my favorite chapters is about envy. And so I wanted to share with you. And I know that she travels internationally giving conference and stuff, and envy is always a topic that is like really good. And so I just wanted to share with you and invite you to read the book. I will put it on the description because it's just such a good topic. I'm like really sparkled by all the reflections that Elena just invited me to do. And so, as an idea of envy as like an illness in the traditional medicine, she studies with the Mexica. And so envy is like an actual illness of the soul somehow. And it's something that all humans experience at some point in their lives. So the first, I think, important thing to mention about envy is that it's common, like it's okay to have it. We all have felt it. It's not a pleasurable feeling, 100%, but it's a human one, right? So that is kind of the first message that I heard from her. And I was just thinking, like, what are my experiences with envy? Because here in the chapter she shares some of the stories, right, of her patients or clients and like herself. And so I was thinking, like, I remember having a partner years ago, many years ago, that was really envious of my achievements. And so I could see them like trying to like celebrate but being very bitter about my achievements. And so because that was so present with that person, I started to tune into the envy energy and like start to reflect on it, obviously also in myself, right? Because I felt how sad it is. Like, I was really sad that people that I love couldn't be happy for me, or like listen and to me and like what I wanted to share about my success, because they were so caught up on their stuff, right, under envy. And the envy energy is very, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels very sticky. It's just not good, and it affects the person that has the envy and the person towards the envious energy is sent out. And so then I also started to think about my own envy. And as a writer, I realized that because I have struggled so much during decades also to be published and like to be seen as an author, I feel really envious of young authors that really get published really soon and gain fame. And so I would be all bitter about it, and like and so that is on owning up my own envy, and I will tell you why that's very important at the end. But yeah, like other moment I can recall is like a friend of ours won like a scholarship, and they were like, oh my god, like looking at their phone like, oh my god, I won this scholarship. And some other friends said, oh wow, you didn't even bother to share, like you didn't even bother to share the call for this scholarship, like wow. And I just felt like the sadness of, oh, so you cannot like be happy for them, but you have to be stingy because of envy. So the beautiful part of this is that envy is a great teacher, according to Elena, and I profoundly believe her, because it has the potential to show us what is that we actually want in our life, in our soul. What is the call that we're not attending to? So if you analyze the people that you're envy of, you can actually took it as a mirror to the things that you are called to do or that you want to do and you haven't done it, right? So for example, in my case with the publishing issue, what can I do to really get published? If that is really something that I want to do, should I self-publish, which I have done, send more, like, I don't know, act on it. And also, of course, like have the sadness, feel the feelings, the sadness and disappointment that perhaps in this moment I won't be able to publish as I want, right? Or like some things are not gonna happen. Sort of like more these feelings, which is like part of life, right? And so I feel like that is so beautiful, because then the envy, it's a tool for you to get to know what you really want, right? I also think, like as she was mentioning, that sometimes if you sit with your envy and you don't see anything that you actually want, but it's more of like an ego trip, that is also super fruitful. I have a lot of friends that feel envious of the bodies of other people, and they want to have those bodies, and they disregard or like don't accept their own body, which I always feel like that is super sad. And as I have had eating disorders and like body images, I just feel connected with that. Also because there are some type of bodies that are not accessible, you know, like as a brown person, I never ever are gonna have a white body, you know, that this mainstream like skinny, we have curves and that is amazing, that's beautiful, we just have a different complexity. And so I feel like complexion, and so I feel like if someone that has this envy towards the bodies of others sits with themselves, can see that they're over-identifying with their physical body, given that, you know, we're more than that, like just like an astronaut suit. And so, you know, and rethink their priorities, right? Because I feel like it's a call. And there is an example here of a person, a woman, that was like very engulfed with their hair, like everyone would compliment their hair and so on and so forth. And an envious friend told them that the hair wasn't perfect, that it needed some change or something, and they got caught up in their ego and they changed their hair and ruined it. And that caused like a big crisis, which allowed them to reflect on the priorities again, and that they were like perhaps looking for too much, you know, external approval, and focusing on things that are perhaps not so important, right? And so envy can be our teacher. I feel that's beautiful. And so I was telling you that the envious energy, it's not so great for the one who feels it, because it depletes, and also for the one who receives it. So what can we do with that, right? What can we do with our own envy, and what can we do if we feel like we're like part of an envious gaze? And so one of the things that I really advocate for is cleanses, like however your belief system is, to do like regular cleanses processes to clean yourself, your energy, especially if you're like very famous, or like if you're like have some sort of success, and you're gonna be target of envy. And so like do cleanses frequently, so that you can like let go of that energy that doesn't belong to you, right? If you're envious yourself, of course, do cleanses to like let go of the envy after you have reflected on it, and all the things that you can do to use your envy as a teacher, right? So cleanses would be the first. But the second, and that's why I was owning on my own envy, is Elena says that one way to heal is to voice your envy. So towards the person that you're envying, that you feel envious towards, if that is safe, like just say like, listen, I feel so, I want to be happy for you, but I really feel envy about your success. And that owning that is very good, because you know nothing that is hidden could be healed. And so when you voice out your envy, it creates like some sort of space for healing. Also, it connects you with the person that you're feeling envious towards, like in a different way. It can create like a closer bond, even because you're being honest, right? If that doesn't work because it's not safe, or you just can't do it, telling to another person, I feel so envious of that, of this and that, you know, or ultimately to like admit it to yourself, right? Because in this culture, when we're supposed to be always good, which is impossible, feeling envious and like accepting that we have envy is like not easy. So accepting it to yourself, it would be a great step to like start, you know, curing that sort of feeling, right? And so I just feel like that is very useful to know that we all have envy and that we can do something about it, right? That we can learn from it, and that it's more like what we do with the feeling, other than suppressing it or things like that. So I feel like that's nice. And so that allowed me to think the last piece that I'm going to share with you, which is about mal de ojo, like evil eye. And Elena says very interestingly that it's not like, she doesn't believe much in curses, so like that people send you like bad things or black magic and stuff like that, which I don't know. But I do think it's very interesting the approach that he has on mal de ojo, evil eye, which is that it usually for children that are seen too much. So when like some children are so beautiful that like people get all like with their gaze, and that causes the illness. It's like they have been seen too much, which I never thought about that. It's so fascinating. And it made me realize that perhaps in the contemporary world as adults, we also can have evil eye, mal de ojo, because we make ourselves overexposed in media. So like if if you are sharing everything you eat, everything you think, everything you do, you sort of like attract this energy of like, stalkers. And so if you have a stalker online, I think that you can have evil eye, like that sort of illness, because someone is seeing you too much, right? So that is just to say that it's good to have a pause and reflect on what you're sharing on your social media. Like, I personally have shared so many personal details because of this healing journey, but I always feel like protected. So I think that's very personal, right? Like if you feel that like sharing certain information feels safe, like your intuition will tell you. But sometimes I'm sure we feel, oh, I totally overexposed, like I overdid it, or like, what is it that I need so much attention that then I'm causing people to get sort of hung up on me, like, and definitely famous people, they at some degree might have the possibility to have evil eye, because people see them very, very much. So that is why the cleanses are really good, because it helps you to, again, release energy that doesn't belong to you, even if it's coming from the outside or if it's coming from you, but it's not aligned with your divine, quality. And so do your cleanses, own up your envy, and be mindful of evil eye, how much you want to be seen by others. And I think that's all. Yeah, I'm excited reading this book. Maybe I will share some other, but that's what I wanted to tell you today. I hope you're safe. Here is very cold, so that's why I have all this. And I hope you're cozy and warm, and wishing you well.